Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the Chicago Bears and their team preview for 2022 is our expert in the field, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man? Talking about the Bears, hoping to reclaim that 85 magic, right? We'll talk more about them, their new team looking brand new GM, new head coach. They got a lot of stuff to look forward to in 2022.
Absolutely. And for everybody listening to our show on our podcast or watching our broadcast, thank you so much. And all of your shares, telling everybody about 100 Yards of Football, telling them about the podcast, telling them about our YouTube channel, sending us squirrely notes where you're like, I don't know about that one. And then sending us other notes where you're like, you guys were right on. We love every bit of it. We want to hear from you. We want to know your opinion. Hey, are we the only sports football broadcast that says, hey, we want to know your opinion about what's going on? I gotta be
It feels like it sometimes. It really does.
I think so. Well, that is what we do. We keep it on the field, we keep it about football, and we keep it moving. As you know, if you've been listening to us for any amount of time, we broadcast live every week, and we have a new podcast episode practically every single day. So thank you so much for continuing to support the show and staying with us. All right, Mr. Logan Landers, the Chicago Bears. That team preview is what I've been waiting on because Chicago is one of my favorite cities, and the Bears really do dominate, and we just want to know what's happening with them. So tell us, Mr. Logan Landers, what do we have to look forward to this season?
Yeah, so let's talk about this team, the Bears. A rough 2021. There ain't no sugarcoating it, man. They went 6-11. They were 8-8 in 2020, 2021. So fell off on their previous record, and unfortunately for the GM, for the head coach, got him fired, got him canned. So they're coming in 22 with a fresh start. Ryan Poles is the brand new general manager, looking good there, and the brand new head coach, Matt Everfuss. So we'll see how those guys do. They have Luke Getsy, offensive coordinator, and Alan Williams at defensive coordinator. Best of luck to all of them this upcoming year. Hopefully they can turn this team around. Looking at this team, let's talk about who's on the roster, who's going to be looking good, and who they've lost. Of course, their biggest blow, of course, you lost Allen Robinson, your wide receiver. He went to the champs with the Rams. That is the big blow there. You also lost Khalil Mack and Akeem Nicks on your defense. Some really good players last year. They're gone. So who can you get? Who's going to step in? Is going to be a free agent you sign? It's going to be a rookie you drafted. Let's talk more about this team and break them down. Let's talk about the offense, led by Justin Fields fully now this whole season. Let's see how we can do in 1 year of work. I still have big hopes for this young man, even though he got absolutely crushed last year on that offensive line. Who they've improved some with, right? You got Cole Kmet at the tight end, hoping to do a little bit of blocking, do a little bit of catching. You got Tevin Jenkins, the right tackle. Sam Mustipher, Lucas Patrick, Cody Whitehair, Larry Broom looking good on the offensive line. And you have guys backing them up. Braxton Jones, Jatrier Carter, Doug Kramer, and Zachary Thomas, all guys you've drafted waiting in the wings, right, at the backup spot pretty much, I would think, for the offensive line. So, I mean, hey, if some of those guys are having some rough weeks, throw one of your rookies in there, see how you can do. Maybe you get a nice bolt on that offensive line. And for the receivers, you got Darnell Mooney, Equiminius St. Brown, Dante Pettis, Tajay Sharp, David Moore, Webster, and then Isaiah Coulter looking good. And at the running back position, you got David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert as your top two. So I think the offense still is going to need a little bit of work for the next year or so to really just kind of solidify everything, get some new guys in there, maybe on the line at the receiving core. So they're working their way up there. I just don't think they're at their peak quite yet. Let's talk more about their defense, though. Looking at this team, defense was a big struggle for them last year. And you're getting two new guys, two rookies you drafted to step in as starters, Kyler Gordon at the cornerback, and at the strong safety, Jaquan Brisker. We'll see how those two gentlemen can do this upcoming season. Of course, you got Eddie Jackson at the safety again, looking good there. And then you have Thomas Graham Jr. at the position looking good, along with a solid defensive position here on the line. You got Alquaid Muhammad, Angelo Blackson, Justin Jones, Robert Quinn, Nicholas Moreau, Roquan Smith, Matt Adams, and Jalen Johnson. So I think this team, right, they are still looking to get back to glory in their division. And I'm just not sure if this is quite the year for them in the NFC North because they're facing some tough teams. You got the Vikings who are looking good, the Packers, we don't know what they're about with Aaron Rodgers, and the Lions who were coming up in the up and up, had a very good draft. But let's look at this schedule for the Bears. Week 1, you got the Niners. Week 2, the Packers. So those are back-to-back weeks of you better be ready to get hit, man, because it's going to be a rough time. It's going to be some hard-hitting football back-to-back weeks. Texans week 3, the Giants in week 4, the Vikings week 5, Commanders at 6, the Pats at 7. Week 8, you got those Cowboys. Week 9, the Dolphins. Week number 10, the Lions. 11, you're coming to Atlanta, facing the Falcons. Week 12, you have the Jets. 13, the Packers. Finally, week 14, you get to have a rest, enjoy some time off. You have a bye week. But then you come back in week 15 against the Eagles, so you don't got much time to rest. Week 16, the Bills. Week 17, the Lions. And if need be, week 18, the Minnesota Vikings. So they have a tough schedule. There's no way around it. They got a tough schedule. And I don't know how this team's going to do. I don't think they make the playoffs this year. I think they're going to miss it by a little bit. I think they're going to improve on their record. I think they're going to be a little bit better. I'm excited to see, really, though, how Justin Fields is going to do in his first full season as a starter. Because we know last year he was kind of in a weird situation of sometimes he'd play, sometimes he wouldn't play, just depends. But now the reins, the keys to the Corvette is finally in his hands. So we'll see how he can do in his first full season as a quarterback for the Bears. And I think this team is on the up and up. They just need to keep improving, keep having a good draft, get some more free agents. And I think that in a few years, I think this team can get back to glory, get back to potential playoff hope potential and looking good there. I just don't think that they're quite yet this upcoming 22 season. But, hey, I think we are going to see some flashes of brilliance from this Bears team this upcoming season.
Absolutely. Again, you can't have rebuilding years in the NFL, really. You just got to keep it moving, right? So I hope as well, the same as you were saying, that some of this great new talent they've got coming in from the draft, they had some great picks. I mean, some pretty amazing picks, honestly. So we would love to see what these young men can do, put them into the systems, give them that chance. And we may just be off to the races because you never know once you put those key pieces together what the greater sum of the whole could be. So you don't have to necessarily rely on one individual to be your star for everything or the one who keeps the team out of the fire. We can have this whole balanced team that can really do some big things. So up there in Chicago, I hope y'all are staying warm, enjoying the preseason, getting ready, having a great summer. The Electric Forest Festival is going on the same weekend up in Chicago, and I have a few people, my friends that were playing in the show. So shout out to everyone, including Prob Cause, who was out there playing and doing great shows. And we cannot wait to get back to Chicago. So live here from Atlanta, Georgia, we love broadcasting our show, and we also love our podcast. So our podcast listeners coming from Chicago, we also want to hear from you, whether you're listening to the podcast over on Spotify, on Apple, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, the Believe Podcast Network, or anywhere that you love listening to podcasts. We are there, and we will have more coverage, game previews, mini game previews, I'm sure, for the Chicago Bears as well throughout the season. So please join us for every single one of these episodes, over 1,000 now, including incredible history specials, evergreen episodes you can listen to anytime. And that is one of the things that is our hallmark, is we bring you the latest, the greatest, but we also bring you the history specials and interviews with legendary players so that you can have something to listen to all the time on our podcast, and you can keep going through our archives. Our archives are absolutely incredible. So thank you so much, Mr. Logan Landers, for that breakdown of the Chicago Bears with their team preview for 2022. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and if you've been watching, you know this is 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. We'll be back with another live episode. We'd love to have you